The wind carried a gentle scent of rain through the quiet cemetery, brushing across the face of a woman kneeling before a modest grave. Her fingers trembled as she placed a handful of fresh wildflowers, daisies and lilies she had gathered from the roadside, on the cold marble. Her name was Mira, a woman of humble means, her clothes worn thin by time, her eyes tired yet filled with something unshakable, grief wrapped in gratitude. She whispered a few words under her breath, the kind of words meant only for the dead. It was something she did every Sunday morning, without fail, rain or shine. What she didn't know was that this morning someone was watching. A tall man in a dark suit stood a few steps away, motionless, his eyes locked on the same grave. His presence was quiet but commanding, his face unreadable, until he finally spoke, his voice breaking the silence like a blade through still water. "That's my wife's grave too." Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us share more true stories that touch hearts like yours. Mira froze. The flowers slipped from her trembling hands. She turned slowly and saw the man standing there, a stranger, yet his sorrow felt painfully familiar. He looked like someone who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. His tailored suit and expensive watch spoke of wealth, but his eyes told a different story. They were the eyes of a man who had lost everything that truly mattered. Mira lowered her gaze, ashamed, as if she had trespassed into someone else's grief. "I'm sorry," she murmured softly. "I didn't know she was. I didn't mean to." But the man raised a hand gently, stopping her. "No," he said. "Please, tell me, why do you come here? Who are you to her?" Mira swallowed hard, unsure whether to answer. Yet something about his tone, so sincere, so broken, made her speak. Her name was Clara, wasn't it? She asked quietly, brushing her fingers against the name engraved in stone. "I didn't know her personally, not really, but she saved my daughter's life." The man blinked, confused. His voice faltered. "My Clara saved your daughter." Mira nodded slowly, her gaze distant as memories flickered like fading sunlight through her mind. She began to tell her story. A year ago, she said, she had been working as a cleaner at a hospital. Her little girl, Asha, just 7 years old, had a heart condition that needed surgery, an impossible dream for a mother who could barely afford food. Every night, Mira would clean the same hospital corridor where Clara, a volunteer nurse, worked the evening shift. Unlike others who ignored her, Clara always smiled, always asked how her day was. One night, when Asha fainted at home and Mira rushed her to the emergency ward, it was Clara who found them crying in the hallway. She didn't ask for details or judge Mira's torn clothes. She just held her hand and said, "Don't worry, we'll find a way." Mira's voice quivered as she continued. Clara had organized a small fundraiser, convincing the hospital board to sponsor part of the surgery. When the money still wasn't enough, she quietly paid the remaining amount herself. Mira never forgot that kindness. The operation was successful, and Isha was alive today because of Clara's compassion. But a few months later, Mira heard the heartbreaking news. Clara had been in a car accident. She didn't survive. From that day on, Mira had come to her grave every week with flowers, because, as she said softly, "I couldn't give her anything when she was alive, so this is all I can do now." The man stood frozen. He felt the ground shift beneath his feet. He was Leon, CEO of a multinational company, a man known for his wealth and power, yet nothing had ever felt as heavy as the silence that followed Mira's words. Clara had never told him about helping this woman. He remembered arguing with her once, accusing her of caring too much for strangers, of wasting herself on people who couldn't repay her. And now here was one of those strangers, kneeling before her grave with gratitude he himself had never shown. Leon's throat tightened as he knelt beside Mira, his polished shoes pressing into the damp earth. She She told me once that she wanted to help someone who reminded her of herself. I didn't understand what she meant until now," he said softly. Then, glancing at Mira's calloused hands and tired eyes, he added, "You shouldn't have to struggle like this, not anymore." Mira shook her head quickly, backing away. "Please no, I didn't tell you this for money. I just wanted to honor her, that's all." But Leon wasn't listening out of pity. He was listening out of revelation. For the first time since Clara's death, he felt something stir inside him. Purpose, maybe redemption. He looked at the grave and whispered, "You're still changing lives even from here, Clara." Over the next few days, Leon couldn't shake the encounter. He found himself driving through the poor district of the city until he spotted Mira again, pushing a small cart of laundry, her daughter Isha trailing behind with a smile too bright for the dusty streets. He stepped out of his car and called to her. Mira froze, startled to see him again, but he only smiled gently. "I came to see how Isha's doing," he said. Isha shyly peeked from behind her mother's skirt, her wide eyes full of curiosity. Leon crouched down to her level and handed her a small bouquet of daisies, the same flowers Mira had placed on Clara's grave. These were her favorite. He said softly, "Do you like them?" Isha nodded, clutching them close. That moment was the beginning of something neither of them expected. Leon began helping Mira, but not out of charity, out of something deeper. He found her a stable job at one of his company's offices, ensuring she could work decent hours while caring for her daughter. He also arranged for Isha's continued medical checkups, quietly paying the bills but never mentioning it. When Mira protested, Leon only said, "You're not taking from me. You're accepting what Clara would have wanted." As months passed, their lives intertwined in quiet, meaningful ways. Mira's humble strength reminded Leon of what he had lost, and what he could still become. And for Mira, Leon's kindness was a reminder that goodness didn't die with Clara. It lived on through those she touched. One bright Sunday morning, they stood together again by the same grave. The cemetery glowed under the golden daylight, flowers blooming like little bursts of memory. Mira placed her bouquet down first, then Leon laid his beside hers. "You know," he said softly, "I used to visit her grave alone, feeling like the world had taken everything from me, but now it feels like she gave me something back." Mira smiled faintly, wiping away a tear. "She gave me my daughter's life," she said, "and maybe she gave you a reason to live again." Leon nodded, his gaze fixed on the grave. "She used to say that love doesn't end, it just changes form. I think I finally understand what she meant." They stood in silence, two souls connected by loss and gratitude. The flowers rustled in the soft breeze, as if Clara herself were smiling somewhere beyond, content that her kindness had rippled farther than she could ever see. Later that day, Leon offered to drive Mira and Isha home. The car ride was quiet but peaceful. Isha hummed softly in the back seat, clutching her daisies. When they reached her small apartment, Leon handed Mira an envelope. She hesitated, but he said firmly, "It's not a gift. It's a partnership. You're starting a small laundry service under my company's wing. It's time people saw what you're capable of." Mira's eyes filled with tears. She could barely speak, only managing a trembling, "Thank you." Leon smiled faintly. "No, thank her," he said, glancing upward. Months later, Mira's small laundry business thrived. She named it Clara's Touch, in memory of the woman who had brought them all together through one act of kindness. Every Sunday she still visited the grave, with better clothes now, but the same humble flowers. And sometimes Leon joined her, never forgetting the day he found hope among the wildflowers. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Every story we share reminds the world that compassion can change lives, even beyond death. And before you go, tell us in the comments below, do you believe one act of kindness can change a life forever? Because sometimes love doesn't fade away, it simply finds a new home in the hearts it heals.